Today we're just going to look at some strong Drekkanas. That's when using the Drekkanas is a lot of fun. You just find a chart with a nice powerful Drekkana and it'll show a strong personality who's really got the ability to make things happen. What's in their mind, they can make it happen when that Drekkana is strong. And most importantly, they can make other people appreciate what they're doing and work with other people. And so what they do takes on greater meaning and purpose and has more success. The first chart we're going to look at has Venus in the Lagna in its own sign. So the Lagna Drekkana, the Drekkana Lagna Lord is strong in its own sign, which is supposed to make a person a king. Let's see how good that Venus really is. He's aspected by the moon to 21 points, and the moon's an enemy, so it's going to hurt him a bit. By his neutral Mars, by his neutral Jupiter, by his friend Saturn to 41 points. And Saturn's in a natural friend sign in the Drekkana, in Venus's sign, so Saturn's going to help Venus a lot. Much more than the moon is going to hurt Venus. Then Venus in the Rashi chart is conjunct Mercury and the Sun. The Sun, of course, could agitate Venus, but since the Sun is sleeping here in the Drekkana, he won't do that in the Drekkana. Mercury is a friend of Venus, so he's going to give Venus a lot of mudita, a lot of delight, and Mercury is exalted. So this is really a wonderful Venus. It's influenced by the moon, a little weakness there, but overall this is a very nicely mudita, delighted Venus, Lagna Lord in the Drekkana. So this person is going to have a lot of power, a powerful personality and a lot of presence and the ability to really work with people and be respected by people because of that Venus. The other planet we see easily that's looking pretty strong is Mercury. Okay, Mercury is the fifth lord, the lord of creativity. Mercury is exalted. And what other influences are on Mercury? Well, the moon's hurting Mercury to 36 points. Not enough to really bother Mercury too much because Mercury is stronger than that. Then Mercury is influenced by his neutral Mars, his neutral Jupiter, and neutral Saturn in aspect. None of those are helping. Then the Sun is conjunct Mercury in the Rashi and would normally agitate Mercury, except that the Sun is sleeping in the Drekkana, so it won't. And then it's also conjunct Venus, which we've seen is in its own sign in the Drekkanas, so able to help his friend Mercury a lot. So this is a very nice Garvita, proud Mercury by being in Virgo, with a good dose of mudita, delight upon it from his friend Venus. So it's a great Mercury too. Now Mercury's in Narada Drekkana. Okay, so this person, that makes him very creative with that Mercury. We've seen Mercury is the fifth lord, the lord of creative intelligence. So this person's considered a creative genius. Okay, just a really hyper-creative, artistic person. And of course, Mercury is the planet that makes a person an artist. Okay, so to do art, you need Mercury. Alright? Now, Mercury in the Drekkana exalted just alone is not going to make a person an artist. He's an artist due to the fact that couple reasons. He's got a Mercury Lagna. His Atmakaraka is in the sign of Mercury. So that gives him Mercury possibilities in his career. His Upapada falls in Virgo, ruled by Mercury, with Mercury in it. So Mercury is going to be a career planet for him. Then Mercury's aspected by Mars, the third lord of talents, by Jupiter, the fourth lord of art, and we have an artist made. Okay? So Mercury makes him an artist in the Rashi chart, but it gives him a lot of strength to his creativity by Mercury being really strong in the Drekkana, and it makes his creativity something respected by his associates and peers. So this is a person who has a lot of respect of his peers and associates, the people he has to deal with. It also helps him to make money and sell his art, which requires associates, galleries and so on, which you have to associate with those people. So this Mercury's really contributed to him becoming really successful in the art world. Venus is going to help a lot. Venus is the planet of art. Venus rules art, but the act of using your skills to make art is Mercury. Okay? But Venus is going to help make this person a more successful artist because they're going to be much more aware of what art is because of that nice Venus. Okay? So this is a really powerful Drekkana, all in all. Here's an interesting Drekkana. where the person has an exalted Venus in the Drekkana. That's the planet that jumps out at you, this exalted Venus. Venus is the lord of the... Well, first let's look at Venus's Lagittarya Vashta. Venus is influenced by the Sun to 9 points, who would normally hurt Venus, but Sun's sleeping so he can't. By the Moon, who's in a neutral sign and therefore hurting Venus to 37 points. Venus gets helped by his friend Mercury to 17 points, who's in a decent dignity too. And then Venus is exalted. He's Garvita, proud. And he's more proud than the Moon is going to hurt him. Moon's only hurting to 37 points, and that's just the Moon that's going to, in a neutral dignity, a natural neutral sign. So he's only going to give 50% effects anyway. So Venus is quite robust in this person's chart. Venus rules the 4th, 8th, and 12th houses. And of course, Venus is a planet of relating. And this person is a master psychologist. And we can see that 4th house of emotions, mind, 8th house of turbulent psychology, 12th house of trances. And this person actually works with people in trance-like states as well. So hypnotism type stuff. Actually it's called neurolingual programming. So this person's a real skilled master in that field because of this Venus. And so, again, Drekkana is about how we work with people. So this person can really work with people on an emotional, subconscious level very successfully because of this nice exalted Venus here, who's Garvita, very proud and successful. Okay? Now, Venus is in Narada Drekkana. So as a result, this person's constantly coming up with new ways to work with their patients. Okay? Now, if you're a psychologist, your clients are Venus. If you're a client, your psychologist is Jupiter. Okay? So Jupiter's the counselor, Venus is the student, which also means Venus is the client that comes to you. And so you can see this person with that exalted Venus in the Drekkana really can work well with, associates well with their clients. Okay. The next chart we've got has probably the strongest Drekkana that we're going to look at here. It's got Venus in Libra, Moon in Cancer, and Mars in Aries, Mercury in Gemini. So we've got 4 out of the 7 planets in own sign. So that's a powerful Drekkana. That's the kind of person that whatever vision they have in their mind, they're going to be successful with it. Venus is the Lagna Lord in the Lagna in its own sign, so that can make this person very successful. Venus is hurt by the Moon to 45 points though, but that's not enough to destroy Venus, but it does set it back a little bit. Then it's influenced by neutral Mars and neutral Jupiter. In the Rashi, Venus is conjunct the Sun, which can normally agitate Venus, but Sun is in a natural enemy sign, so he's sleeping in the Drekkana. Mercury is with Venus, and Mercury is in its own sign in the Drekkanas, so he's really helping Venus. So overall, this becomes a Mula Trikona Garvita, proud Venus, with a good dose of Mudita, delight from Mercury, and less of a dose of the Moon, which is going to starve Venus. But all in all, this is a 2/3 good Venus. So that's much better than average Venus. So this person will have a great ability to make a success of their life, because it's Drekkana Lagna Lord, which makes a person a king. Then we've got Mercury strong. Again, Mercury is also the 9th Lord, which is one of the important lords in the Drekkana, the Lord of finding purpose with our associates and working with associates towards a greater purpose, or towards a bigger purpose. So bringing lots of people together to make something bigger happen that one person alone couldn't do. Mercury is also the 6th Lord, the Lord of overcoming obstacles with their associates. So Mercury is an important Lord in the Drekkana, and he's in his own sign. He's conjunct Venus in the Rashi, who's helping him as a friend. Mercury is hurt by his enemy Moon, but not as much as Venus is helping him. Other planets are indifferent to Mercury. So Mercury's in 2/3 good shape, actually a bit better than 2/3 good shape, just like Venus is a bit better than 2/3 good shape. So this is a really nice Mercury. So 4th and 9th Bhava Lord is in great shape too. Mercury's in Narada Drekana, and this person's also a creative, hyper-creative individual. Lots of ideas. Mercury can have so many ideas. Put in a Narada Drekana and you make Mercury strong, and you get a lot of real creative thinking. Then the moon is in its own sign, not influenced by any enemies. So a great, strong moon, ruling the 11th house, which is gains with associates and people, so ability to earn and gain and move forward with people, with their associates. Then Mars is in its own sign in Aries. Mars is influenced by his friend's sun, who's sleeping, but helped by moon. Then helped by Mercury more than he's helped by moon. So Mars gets a little deficit there, but not enough to ruin his own sign placement. And then he's not influenced by anyone else. So this is a better than worse Mars. And Mars, of course, is an important planet in the Drekkana. So this person's going to approach their relationships logically, work with their teammates logically. It's not going to be about egocentric stuff. It's about who's going to be able to do the best job so that we all have the best result. And that's what this person's very capable of. So this person's a very capable entrepreneur who's very creative, creates lots of products with teams of people very successfully, because it's really powerful Drekkana. You'll find as you look at Drekkanas that people who have some power in the Drekkana will really be able to do so much more in their lives, because we all dream about what we can do, we all think about things, and we always imagine what we can do. But then bringing those things into concrete realization requires, bringing that vision into a concrete realization, that requires working with associates, working with the right people, finding the right means to do it, and getting what's out of our consciousness into a concrete form. And that happens through the Drekkana. Okay, so the Drekkana is important for all that stuff. So when you start seeing strong planets in the Drekkana, especially the Lagna Lord being strong is a really important one. But any planet strong in the Drekkana, it's going to make for a lot of success in that person's life in general. This person we've seen, the 6th and 9th Lords, two of the important Drekkana Lords are strong. The 7th, the Lagna Lord is strong. The 10th Lord is also the Lagna Lord. 10th Lord strong always helps any Varga somewhat. The one problem with this Varga is Jupiter, the 3rd Lord, is debilitated. And Jupiter's influenced by the Sun, who can't help him because he's sleeping. But he's helped a lot by the Moon. But then he's hurt by Mercury and Venus very badly. So this is a starved Jupiter. This is not a happy Jupiter, really. It's a sleeping Jupiter who's starved by Mercury and Venus, only gets a little bit of help from the Moon. So the interesting thing about that means this person innately, Mars, he's very logical with how he works with his associates because Mars is in good shape. But with Jupiter, the 3rd Lord, being weak, he's never able to completely connect with his associates. He's never able to completely see their ideas fully. There's a liability there. But the 9th Lord and 6th Lord being so strong, he's still able to work around all those problems and still make a great success of things. Now, if the 3rd Lord had been better, every one of his associates would always love him. As it is, occasionally somebody things don't work out with and there's some disappointment. But mostly they get to work through their problems because of the great Mercury and achieve the bigger goals because of the great 9th Lord Mercury. Okay? And that makes up a lot for a bad 3rd Lord. And of course, Mars being good also helps make up for the bad 3rd Lord. Okay? The 3rd Bhava itself is good too. 3rd Bhava's hurt by Sun because the Sun is sleeping, but helped by Moon a little bit, helped by Mercury, helped by Venus, and helped a lot by Mars, because Mars conjuncts the 3rd Bhava in the Rashi chart, and Mars is in its own sign in the Drekkana. So Mars is sort of making for a good 3rd Bhava and helps give them, good associates to work with and logical associates to work with, which is the quality of a good Mars. But still, with Jupiter being a little weak, Jupiter is a planet of faith. This person's faith in their associates is less than it really ideally should be. their ability to forgive their associates when they make a mistake is less than it should be. But still, with Mars being so good and a good third bhava as a result, and a great ninth and sixth bhava, the other critical bhavas in the Drekkana, and a good Lagna Lord in the Drekkana, the person's still able to really create miracles with people and really do amazing things with their teammates. But they always tend to be the leader in the group. Why? Because Venus is so strong in the Drekkana, and because the third Lord is weaker. So the associates aren't going to have the leadership capacity that this person's going to have. Okay? Alright, so there's a couple of Drekkanas just to give you some snapshots of what a strong Drekkana can do. So it's always worthwhile in a chart to peek at the Drekkana and see if anything really stands out. Any really strong planets in there are really planets that people can put a lot of energy behind and work well with people, and as a result have bigger results with those things ruled by those planets.